I have to say, this game, this game went a direction that I didn't see coming. It is a familiar refrain for the Vegas Golden Knights, right? You outshoot your opponents, you lose the game. You outchance your opponents, you lose the game. Something happens, you end up losing the game. Montreal tonight, and I have to say, for all the fans who are celebrating in the streets of Montreal tonight, enjoy that. For everybody who was in attendance tonight, I honestly envy what you witnessed tonight. This is one of those games. So I've talked about my fandom, right, and what I cheer for. Listen, when we get to this part of the season, and there's nobody left that I'm cheering for or against, and despite my history with Montreal, I'm not cheering against them at this point. They're the underdog. So I just want to see good hockey, and I want to see a fair result. And I was nervous at points tonight we might not see the fair result. Now, if you want to point out, well, Vegas fairly probably should have won this, well, touche. And there was no Ducharme, so Richardson was behind the bench. I have been a proponent of Luke Richardson getting a shot at a coaching job, and hopefully tonight is an example of why he would be a good head coach. No Stevenson. Tuck was on the first line. It definitely hurts Vegas's attack without Stevenson, because if you have Tuck on that first line, you don't have him on the third line. It hurts your rotation overall if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. Nosek was back in. Brown was out. Nosek was effective on faceoffs. Played pretty well tonight, but again, they really missed Chandler Stevenson. And I enjoyed the lights pregame. Montreal had the seats set up with some really cool flashing red, white, and blue lights. Really enjoyed that. I thought that was really fun. The crowd was definitely into it again. 3,500 for tonight's game. Carlson versus Suzuki to start. And this is noteworthy because Richardson going against the narrative. Normally it's the Danault line that starts things out, and in this case it was the Suzuki line. Smith gets an early shot. Every time Pacioretty touched the puck, he got booed. I think Max knew that was going to happen tonight. Didn't negatively impact his play. We didn't see him skating around the ice screaming, "Why do you hate me so?" He gets it. Most players do when they're getting booed by the fans. The Raw line then presses. Theodore had a chance. Glove save there. The shots were 3-0 Vegas at 4 minutes. It was all Vegas that first 5 minutes. Vegas came out and they were just absolutely swarming early on. Nosek fires one high. The Habs weren't getting time at Vegas's end. That would continue throughout the period. And if I had a dime for every shot that goes high, well, I've gone through the whole dime thing before. Still my dime. So, unless people are going to come over and give me dimes, but that'd be weird. Hits aplenty as well early on in the game. It wouldn't stay that way. The hits, honestly, were a little bit lower than I had expected. I had expected well over 100. We didn't get well over 100 tonight. Montreal threw more hits, but Montreal just didn't have the puck as much as Vegas either, so that's kind of where that comes down. First power play goes to Vegas. The Habs with 21 straight penalty kills coming into this game. That would not stop. They don't get beaten on this one either, and it's weird because their penalty kill during the regular season wasn't very good, and in the postseason it's been great. So all they needed was for that silly regular season to end, and no problem. Theodore had a shot that deflects wide. Martinez had a shot that was blocked. Tuck, Pacioretty, they're denied. A Petrie shot deflects wide. It's killed off. Ends up with one official shot awarded to Vegas. So there were chances, there were opportunities, but it's killed off. Petrie had a shot deflect. Yeah, Petrie had a shot deflect wide, killed off, one shot. Caulfield then had a net drive. He was forced wide there. Caulfield had a really good game. The interesting thing with Caulfield is he looks so small compared to most of the Vegas Golden Knights players, and yet he still gets open. And he's still able to get that separation. It's really impressive to watch. Still no extended time, though, for the Habs in Vegas' zone. They're not getting those chances. Puck goes into the Vegas net after it was off the moorings, but at least it got there. They then had 2 shots on net at that point in the game. Roy with a break. Price saves. We get some sticky pokey going on at that point. Price made the save. And again, you have to watch the faceoffs. The one thing too, I missed this. I apologize. The Habs did kill that off, get a power play of their own. The shots were 11-0 for Vegas at the point where Montreal gets their power play, which got 1 shot. Now that I've gone back and fixed that, let us continue. And I at this point, I felt like they may not need to Zamboni the Montreal or the Vegas end of the ice because Montreal didn't really have enough pressure. It's one of those things that it's looked pretty clean to me. 2:06 left. Vegas gets another power play. Marchessault rolls one wide. Toffoli clears it out. The Habs would kill it off. So we go to the second period. It's still scoreless. Montreal managed 3 hole shots in the first period. The zone time was 10 minutes plus for Vegas, 5 minutes for Montreal. Definitely Vegas was controlling it. Now, is Montreal keeping them to the outside? Yeah, but Vegas is a team that takes shots from everywhere, and usually some of those go in. Not tonight. 24 seconds in, Weber takes a penalty. But while it's a strong power play this time, we end up with a shorthanded chance for Armia, who's already had 2 shorthanded goals in the playoffs, was looking for number 3. Yoel Armia had a very good game. The Habs would kill it off. Only 1 shot was actually allowed. So again, Vegas had that working, and it looked good, but they only get 1 shot during the power play. But then Raw, he scores at 3:16, and it was on a turnover. And it was not a good play by Stahl. Stahl gives it up to him. I think Stahl was looking for Perry, but in between the two of them, there's Waugh. So it felt like maybe this was going to wake up Montreal, because to this point, Montreal's just being outchanced, outplayed, and everything. And it did. The Karlsson line gets chances right off the faceoff, but puck goes the other way. Suzuki to Caulfield, 3:54, breakaway goal. Fans finally have a reason to start really cheering, and they get loud with that. And then the Habs start looking for the lead. Caulfield and Suzuki. It feels like that's the future for the Montreal Canadiens attack. That at some point in time down the road, we're going to look back on this run and say, yeah, so Caulfield and Suzuki, right? Suzuki needs to work on his faceoffs. Yes. Suzuki didn't have the kind of defensive performance this year that he had last year. Agreed. But him and Caulfield, there's just something there, and it's kind of special to watch. And if Suzuki gets his faceoffs going, look out. Both teams making some iffy passing choices in this game at that point. Both of them making passes where I was thinking, where's that going? Where's that one going? But it's a 1-1 tie, right? So that was only 38 seconds in between goals. McNabb had a shot, glove save. Stone had a shot, gets cleared out. Kolasar then missed high as Vegas was pressing. So Vegas getting more pressure to try to get that lead back. Dangerous near misses by Vegas. Habs hemmed in at the half. Tuck then defended Caulfield on a fast break. So again, Cole Caulfield, fast breaks. Remember when he signed out of the NCAA and I said, get him in the lineup? People were like, I don't know. I will never forget seeing somebody go, I don't even think he's going to be a good NHLer before he's played a game. It's always funny when people do this because they want to come back to that comment 2 years from now and go, see, told you. Otherwise, they'll probably just delete it and hope we all move on. But I see these things. So yeah, Tuck defended that. Lehkonen then had a shot that deflects high. Lehkonen didn't play today. He's not playing in this game. Gustafsson had a shot blocked. Pietrangelo then blocked out Perry. Stahl couldn't bury one at that stage. Caulfield was denied. Really dangerous. He had the best opportunities in the second period for Montreal. A period where they had more shots than they did in the first, but that's not really saying a whole lot. So, yeah, the fans tried to call a penalty. Tuck had a break. That was denied. 5:29 left. Kotkaniemi takes what was his second penalty of the game. The good news for Montreal is Vegas' power play can't score. And Montreal's penalty kill doesn't allow a goal. So these two things put together in this series has meant these penalties on Montreal haven't hurt them. They would kill it off. Part of what helped them kill it off was Lehkonen with just yeoman's work on that penalty kill. Then it ends up with 2 shots on the power play, and Lehkonen was patted on the back by his teammates as he came over to the bench. Suzuki then tries to bank one in. The Habs blocking a lot of passes, but they needed more shots. And then with 17.4 seconds left, the Habs get a power play. So, you've got this power play now going into the third period. Shorthanded chance for Smith right off the faceoff. Vegas wins the opening faceoff for the third period. Habs had trouble setting up. And it was killed off, and there were no shots for the Montreal power play. So that hurts. Not that they had a lot of power play opportunities. They probably should have had at least one more power play opportunity than they did, but we're not there yet. So ozone time was still about 2-1 for Vegas after the second period. Basically, they're just doubling Montreal in time in the offensive zone and in shooting opportunities as well. In fact, shot attempts were 3 or 4-1 in favor of Vegas at points in the first period. But Pietrangelo, he scores from Pacioretty and Nosek at 2:22. Not a great goal. It's not. And I say this straight out. He fired it through Carey Price. Price saw it. Was it close? I mean, it was out around the hash marks. Price normally would make the save on that. So Stahl then couldn't bury a response. Carlson the other way, he's denied. But it feels like that 2-1 lead might be enough. Like Vegas should be able to bring this home again. They were the best team defensively in the NHL during the regular season. And so this should probably be enough, right? Smith had a shot that was stopped as Vegas pressed. Gallagher shot one right into Fleury's glove after that. Then there's a 2-on-1. Alex Tuch was denied on that. I still don't know how that stayed out. I was sure that was in. Put it this way, I was pretty sure that was a goal. And they're like, Price saved him. I'm like, did he? That should have gone in. So Price with a fantastic save there. Perry, he had a net drive, couldn't fire it home. Caulfield then with the steal, but he loses it back to Vegas. Carlson's line then pressed at the other end. Again, they're up by 1. They just need to kill the clock, right? Stone hits the post on the next press by Vegas, and it felt like they could blow this wide open. It felt like if Vegas got that third goal, it could lead to a fourth, to a fifth, and this could be a laugher, right? Didn't happen. Shot attempts at this point were up to 63-33 in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. They're getting a lot of shot opportunities, but they're only up 2-1. Habs pressed, but they didn't get any shots out of it. So this is part of the problem. They get that zone time. They can't get the puck past. McNabb had a great game. Pietrangelo had a very good game as well. But yeah, that was what was going on. Gallagher had a pass that didn't work. Vegas got a chance out of that. Gallagher, it was a pass to, I think it went off Suzuki's skate. It was one of those, I'm not sure. I mean, I get what he's trying to do there. You see the red jersey, but make sure you're passing it to the stick. Toffoli then had a shot that was stopped. Petrie's shot was stopped as well. Then it goes the other way. Tuch had an opportunity that was stopped. There was a face-off in the Habs end. So I was tracking this. It's like, okay, how many goals have we seen Vegas score off face-offs in the Habs end? Got to watch this. So the Habs end up winning it. Throw Dano on the ice, he likely wins it. Luke Richardson, not a fool, behind that bench. Stahl centered one to nobody. And so Vegas was able to clear it out. And the fans had gone really pretty quiet. So Montreal dumps it in. Fleury goes behind his net to handle the puck. It goes off of his skate in front of the net. And Josh Anderson on his way by the net goes, hey, look, a puck. And puts it in the net. Cue the seats lighting up. The fans going crazy. And my laughter. I actually laughed all the way through the rest of the third period. Again, I don't have a dog in this fight. So when I see that play, I'm like, how? How does Fleury do this? And better yet, if Leonard did that, he would be booed out of the building by Vegas. Fleury, who is revered and rightfully so, that move, man, that was not, and honestly, I thought after that, he looked kind of rattled. I know he showed his glove to the bench like, oh, my bad, and he, squared up, and he did make some good saves after that. In the last minute, the fans tried to call a penalty on Vegas. It wasn't happening, and man. Then there was a buzzer beater saved by Fleury. So we go to the overtime, and I'm going to say this straight out, and I do my best not to weigh in on the officiating. The officiating was terrible in the overtime. And there was something too that Bieksa pointed out in between the second and third period, that the referees were letting them get freebies. So if you're already getting a penalty, and you can slash the guy too, they're not going to call that. If my teammate's getting a penalty, I can go in there and just flatten somebody. They're not going to call it. So they were doing this, and he kept saying he was giving them hall passes, and I was like, he's right. That is definitely happening out there. So we go to overtime. Habs undefeated when they've scored 2 or more goals in the playoffs. And going into overtime in this, Vegas has a 1-2 overtime record. Montreal 3-0 in these playoffs. It's one of those records you look at and go, how does this happen? But again, Vegas is a team that has trouble closing out series. They are a team that has trouble closing out opponents. If they fail to reach a Stanley Cup final this year, that is going to be addressed in the offseason. I don't know how you address it, but it's going to get addressed. So Lehkonen had a shot that was blocked, and right away you could see Montreal knew what they could do here. They understood, and they understood as that period went along in the third that they had an opportunity to steal a hockey game here. a game they had no business being in and that Carey Price kept them in it, that they had a chance to win one for him. And not just for him, there was another inspiration that was about to happen. So defensive end face-off for the Habs. Vegas would win it. Stone had a shot off of that was saved. And again, they can't allow this. I understand it didn't victimize them tonight, but they have to watch that in Game 4. Perry then had a chance that was defended. Marchessault had a shot saved, and there's another face-off in the Habs end, but Danault wins that. So as long as you have Philippe Danault on the ice, good chance he's going to win that face-off. He understands he's a UFA this offseason. Every game Montreal wins, I would think you can add another $100,000 in terms of what Danault can get. In fact, if Montreal pulls off this upset, Danault is probably going to cash in big time as a free agent. Then the Habs wanted a penalty, or the fans wanted a penalty, so did the Habs. Pacioretty fires one wide, and it was McNabb that was on the play that they thought should have been a penalty. So if Pacioretty had scored there, the booing would have, as they said, blown the roof off the place. Armia was denied. Perry had a shot that was blocked. Suzuki gets a chance. He's taken down. It's no penalty. On the replay, you could see that it was a good non-call, that wasn't really a penalty. So good non-call with Suzuki and him getting taken down. The Habs jumped up. The fans reacted. But again, it was just a really good defensive play. I think it was Whitecloud that made that play. D-zone face-off for the Habs. Danault wins that as well. So Philippe Danault, every time he wins a face-off, maybe his asking price goes up by $5,000, right? Habs needed to shoot from everywhere. And I wrote that down because I thought, you know what? Fleury looked shaky. When he was getting these shots, he just didn't seem to quite have it back after that goal. After that moment, it felt like there was still some doubt in his mind, right? So Suzuki misses one wide. Toffoli couldn't bury one. Fleury nearly gave it away again. There was a play behind the net, and Fleury comes out and almost hands it off to Montreal, and I was like, oh my God. Like, this is where, like, I remember with Vancouver with Markstrom yelling at the net, yelling at the TV, get back in the net. I used to yell it at Dan Cloutier all the time. Tuukka Rask for Boston, I've almost lost my voice screaming at the TV, get back in the net. Fleury, I was starting to feel that way about, even though, again, I don't have a dog in this fight. This is great hockey. So, yeah, the taunting got louder as well after that. So the fans understand Fleury looks shaky, so they're chanting his name to try to, get in his head. I don't know that ever works, but hey, if you're in the crowd and you want to do that, good on you. Perry then took a high stick, no call. Now, when I say a high stick, I'm not talking about just like a little graze to the forehead. I'm talking about straight across the bridge of the nose. His face was covered in blood immediately. My first thought was, a WWE reference, Becky Lynch. It was immediate, and I thought, okay, is it broken? Like, he had to go for repairs, for stitches, and I thought, just from where it hit him on the bridge of the nose, I thought, that could have broken it. So, Perry's out. Now, he's bleeding all over the place. The crowd goes nuts. Agreed. The ref you suck chant starts. Again, I can't deny that that's accurate. But that seemed to spur Montreal on. It felt like it did. And then what happened next tells you it probably did. Anderson, great tip to knock the puck down and intercept it. He ends up getting it over. Kotkaniemi and Byron end up getting the assists on Anderson's goal when it comes back to him from Byron. Beautiful pass by Byron. And at 12:53 of overtime, Montreal wins this 3-2. They go up 2-1 in the series with the overtime win. And after that, well, first off, they did a review for a high stick. And all I could think was, if this comes back on a high stick, the referees and the linesmen are going to need like an armed escort to get out of the building. Like, this is not going to end well for them. But it was good. The goal was good. They let it count. And Perry came out to celebrate. And you can still see, like, he's got blood all over. Like, it's just, like BX has said after the game. He said he's still trying to get a penalty call. But you could see they stitched him up. So I don't know how you don't call a double minor there. The stick hit him in the face. He's got blood all over his face. Everybody in the crowd saw it. Everybody watching TV saw it. The referees went, eh. Now, and again, I understand that Corey Perry might have a reputation, but his face wasn't, he didn't have like a blood packet inside of his hand that he punched up against his nose. Yeah. So Montreal wins this. And it kind of felt like, If Vegas wins this after that Corey Perry missed call, I mean, you take it if you're a Vegas fan, right? I don't know, for me, again, without a dog in the fight, I don't know how I would have felt, but they win it. Montreal wins it. And now they go into game 4 on Sunday. They can get a stranglehold on this series. For Vegas, we're into must-win territory in the next game, right? So the shots tell you the story as well. 17-3 Vegas in the first, 13-5 Vegas in the second, and then in the third, like I said, Montreal started feeling like, hey, we could get into this. They outshoot them 13-10 in the third period. In the overtime, they outshot them 6-5. So Montreal takes it over a bit. The confidence gets better, and hopefully that confidence keeps improving for Montreal because it'll lead to a better series. Final shots 45-27 for Vegas. Power plays, Vegas gets 4. They don't get any goals. Montreal gets 2. No goals for them either. Hits 52-36 for Montreal. Block shots 21-20 for Vegas. Fleury saves 24 out of 27. That Anderson goal that hurts. Price saves 43 out of 45. And I said during the game, I tweeted out during the game when this was going on, if there isn't if Montreal wins this, there'd better be a statue of Carey Price in front of that building before game 4, because they really didn't have any business even being in the game, and yet here we are. Montreal wins it. Yeah, this is playoff time, and yeah, again, as a non emotionally attached to either team observer, I love overtime hockey. I love this kind of stuff. And it always makes it more interesting when the underdogs win. And again, before this series, what did we hear? The North is crap. The North sucks. Montreal shouldn't be here. They're a fraud. The fraud's up 2-1. And that needs to be a t-shirt, is, the frauds. And just, market that somehow. Because I really think it's something the Habs should own. Bunch of jerks was owned by the Canes. Sure, be frauds. But if they end up being frauds with cup rings, it makes them feel better. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen. Vegas can absolutely come back and win game 4, but this series is really interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.